Hey guys, this is projecteae here with a video review on the SIC Kiwami Tamashii Garo the Golden Knight figure series for Garo, the main head character, and also, actually it'll be a twofer. It's actually also going to feature a review for Gouten, which is, I guess, technically a figure, but I guess you would treat as an accessory for Garo. Lots to cover, so let's get into it. Alright, and then first up, we have Garo, the main figure itself, from the main series. It's the main character. Garo itself is interesting because it represents a character, or the character, but also in the property, the show, it's actually a title for the Makai Knights, Underworld Knights, as well. So, and it is like a very prestigious title sort of thing, like the top knight, I guess you could say. And it is the sculpt on it is very well done. I would say it's roughly maybe 4 and then some inches. So not in the 3 3/4 inch line, but you could probably put it next to it and it'd seem a little bit taller compared to a few, but also in scale with a few of the taller ones too. Should be alright. But as you can see, it's a very well sculpted figure. Paint apps on this look very immaculate. And they're pretty articulate for what they are as well. But yes, very well done figure. So it comes with not a lot of accessories, but all the accessories that it comes with are things that have been utilized in the show and are very it works well for what the figure is, which is this armored knight essentially. For accessories, we have its main sword, which also has very wonderful paint apps as well. There we go, focus, there we go, yes. And then of course we have some hands here. We have two kind of half open, kind of slightly gripping hands. And then of course we have one holding hand, which is for the sword, and then of course the figure itself comes with closed fists. And then the part swapping, actually, you can actually go ahead and include a very, very cool cape on here as well, which looks like it's actually semi-translucent, actually, so it gives a really cool effect. And there's 3 parts that you need to change out, which is the centerpiece with the Garo symbol, and I guess these ornamental kind of hanging pieces off its shoulders. There are 3 holes, 3 pegs, pretty simple. Alright, and then here we'll go and include, and all the hands are all ball joints, very simple to swap out. Slide the sword in. Alright. Wow. As you can see, it's very, very cool. Very simple. Garo, the show itself, is a tokusatsu property, so things like the Super Sentai and Kamen Rider kind of falls in that niche. Yes. As far as articulation, I'll go through articulation real quick. Has a ball jointed neck, has ball jointed waist, has a swivel ball joint hinge, but due to the shoulder and stuff, you can only get so much articulation, but it's very doable. You have a single hinge elbow, a swivel forearm, ball jointed, of course, wrist, so that means a little bit wiggle. You have ball jointed hips, swivel hips, thighs, double jointed knees, which is cool, ball jointed feet, or ankles, I'm sorry, yes. So fairly articulate for what it is. And then next up here we have Gouten, Garo's steed. Here I actually am able to make it stand without a use of an action stand. But otherwise, it's actually not that easy to pull off this stance too often, unless you are able to cheat and use a stand, or maneuver around and use the tail. It's a separate packaged figure that recently was released and has a lot of soft plastic, which is a bit of a pain right now, but of course with the use of nail polish, clear nail polish, or I guess super glue on the joints and then rubbing them, it'll tighten up the joints. But this figure, based on my first impressions right now, like this, as it is right now, as it's bought, fresh and so forth, is a pain in the butt. And I would only recommend to hardcore fans. Otherwise, it's a beautiful figure. It's a steed. It's a golden armored steed, which is very cool, but is a major pain in the butt. It's very articulated. It has a beautiful sculpt, as I've mentioned time and time again. It has this great sheen on gold. Has this really nicely sculpted mane, very fire-like. Has the Garo symbol right there. But besides from, has a lot of articulation. And it even has an actual, reins that you actually attach on. That, I guess, if you simulate with the pulling back, his mouth would actually open, which is very cool. But the joints definitely could be a lot stiffer. And there is no mounting spot or port or anything for Garo to be in there. You actually will sit it in there. Right there is where Garo would sit, and you can see there's like grooves and stuff, so it actually, I guess, molds to the curvature of his crotch area and stuff. But aside from that, it doesn't really actually go there flush or anything. I would have much rather if there was some sort of weird friction snap, clip, peg, something. But unfortunately, it is not available. I might have to fashion something, just because a much more secure fit makes it easier to pose. As far as articulation, we have all the joints a normal horse steed would come with, and then we actually have some moving hinge armor parts here. The main base joints on the limbs are, of course, only pegs, They are not, can't see, can you? They are only pegs. They're not ball joints, so you can't get any additional, I guess, movement, which would help with poses, which is unfortunate. I really wish it was ball jointed. But some of the base of each other joint does have some swivel, which allows some extra movement, but I think the base joints here at the hip and I guess what would be the shoulder, it would be the most important. But all these all have the proper joints that you would imagine. Ball jointed tail, base of the neck and mane area has a ball joint as well. The base of the neck to the head has a ball joint. Moving jaw, actually it's a double jointed, so you can actually do a little bit of back and forth motion to make it a little bit more flush with the mane, or to get more emotion, or to emote the head, even though it doesn't even have eyes, it looks like. The armor here right below the jawline also flaps as well. So a lot of cool stuff. And also there is moving shoulder armor, and this shoulder armor is very soft plastic. Definitely needs to be reinforced because it falls off all the time. Beyond that, just take that off. There is a hole there. That hole right there, that is actually for a special accessory that only comes right now with a Tamashii Web exclusive. It's for the Garo winged knight version, which is a Garo figure, but with wings actually. You can actually put those wings and port them onto here to make kind of a Pegasus kind of thing, which is really cool. So that is the Gouten. Next I'll show all the other accessories and what it comes, how to, I guess, mount up Garo, I guess. Alright, and here we have Garo mounted onto Gouten here. I would have shown it actually being mounted and doing so, but I don't think anyone wants to actually see me filming 2 to like 10 minutes fiddling with the same things over and over again. It's a pretty simple process since there's no actual mounting ports, pegs, holes, snap fits, magnets, or anything like that. Grooves on the backside of Gouten, bend the legs of Garo just a little bit, fit in the groove until it fits snug, and then slide the, foot guard things around his feet there. Oh, focus, focus. There we go, a little bit better. And then right there. And then that's pretty much it. And then of course you can have the reins around one of the hands if you want. You could keep the cape on, and it looks really cool, but I will say this now because the cape itself is a stiff plastic, very rigid, flexible but very rigid for most of it. It is going to be very hard to get on and pose it. So if you're patient, you can do it. But if you're not, just stick to the regular version of Garo without the cape to put it on. That'd be my recommendation. And here, of course, you remember Garo's very cool decorative sword here. Like I mentioned before, Gouten itself does not come packaged with Garo. It is a separate figure, and it actually does have one accessory. But this accessory is namely for Garo to use, be with it on the steed or without the steed. And that accessory is the Zenbaken, which is essentially the same essential weapon which Garo uses, the same sword, but in its very expanded bladed form, very buster blade, very bastard sword looking. It's monstrous, actually. And actually, if you look at it, you can actually see the details of the original base sword design actually in the center. So that's actually really cool. So here's kind of the base of the design of the sword, and then the original blade, and then this expanded blade around it, which is very, very cool. And just like the original sword and Garo and Gouten and everything else about this set, very immaculately painted. So very cool. And it goes into Garo's hand the same fashion, the same way. Sword in, but then you just take it out. New awesome sword. Slide it in the fist. And there you have it. So, final thoughts. Should you get Garo and Gouten? That really depends. If you are a fan of the Garo series, if you're a fan of SIC Kiwami Tamashii figures, like small scale stuff, probably. Because then there's not much in the way, because they're great for the price point. Garo himself is only about 1,200–1,300 yen. Gouten, since he is a bigger figure, but he does come with a really notable accessory. Zenbaken, before this release, was actually a Tamashii Web exclusive, and also at one point another time, Denkenki Hobby exclusive, way long time ago. But now that's available. That's great for collectors. So, and the sculpt's great, coloring great paint apps. Yeah, but, however, this is not by any means a sturdy figure. If you prefer your figures to feel more solid and you're not a hobby enthusiast, you don't want to have to add friction to the joints to stiffen them up and everything, you should just save your money and get the more expensive but much more solid regular SIC figures. But Gouten, I do not believe exists in that scale just yet. But otherwise, I can't recommend this to everyone. Only fans and enthusiasts who can deal with the cons. But otherwise, the pros, this figure's great. The accessories are great. The additions are great. And again, if you're a hobby enthusiast, there's no reason why you probably won't be okay with it. And anyways, that is about it, I guess. This has been the video review for the Garo and Gouten figures from the SIC Kiwami Tamashii figure line. Hope this was helpful in some form or fashion. Hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys at the next video. Thanks.